All right, welcome everyone. Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Monogatari, Often Monster, Episode 7. I think we're in for a Shinobu arc.
I think you're right.
And I will say, I have missed our donut-eating gremlin.
Yes, the golden child, the goddess herself is here.
Given the tone and the content of the previous half-episode whole deal, what are we getting here? Because normally I would think that it would be like, if we're getting Shinobu stuff, we're getting like how she became a vampire or something, but...
I don't think that has anything to do with the tone of what we're doing here, other than that just being a lovely, like, hey, we are going to be focused on Shinobu here, and this is something probably just people have always wanted. It's just some kind of teaser as to what her origins are. But if we actually got her origins as the actual focus of it, properly Monogatari style animated episode, I would be very shocked. I would be very shocked. I will bet money in that regard.
Well, I mean, hey, if it's not her origin, then fantastic. We get more time with Shinobu in the present. Probably. Maybe.
Yeah. Otherwise, in a lot of ways, while Shinobu feels like the next character that makes the most sense as far as the monster characters of Monogatari, while the others have had, like, in a lot of ways, progression in their character stuff, a lot of them have been resolved here. Like, even the one that I thought was resolved was not. But, like, I would say Shinobu's is one where you don't just resolve Shinobu.
Oh, no.
Shinobu continues.
Shinobu goes on forever.
Yes, exactly. So, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Honed story.
Okay.
Bon appetit. Oh my god.
Acerola Orion Heart Under Blade っていう名前は俺様が考えてやった。
Okay.
自分で言うのもなんだが、クールでハードで最高にいい名前だ。
I thought you just collected all the names over time. That would have made...
俺様はあいつに名前をつけるべきじゃなかったのかもしれないと思うんだ。
Oh, gotcha. This is not her, yeah.
確かに言えることが一つある。あれは食欲じゃなかった。
Okay.
Oh, we know what it wasn't.
ちょっとアセロラオリオンハートアンダーブレードじゃ。料理の名前としちゃあんまりイケてねえだろ。
So is this maybe the vampire that turned her?
Well, she would have been a vampire spawn to this one.
美味しいのですかそれ。
うまいに決まってんだろ。俺様のお頭だぜ。
You think I wouldn't taste good?
もうやめた方がいいですよ。
Well, here we are. Oh.
Yeah.
生活に口を出すもんじゃねえな、お姫様。
私が心配している。
Now we are going into this, I guess. Okay.
あなたが私を殺そうとさえしなければ、あなたが死ぬことは一度だってなかったのですから。
What a sentence.
どうぞ召し上がれ。
Bon appetit.
Yeah. Wow.
どうやら5度目の死を迎えたらしい。
Holy shit.
What is happening?
Okay, I think it's what happened to Araragi when he saw her, like, original form, and he's like, I must die, too beautiful and all that.
Yeah.
That even as a vampire, you're not immune. And so as she goes to attack her, she just instinctively destroys herself.
Right.
このニュアンスからすると、今回は餓死したようだ。餓死は珍しいな。
Right, because you let your hunger come out, and it never got satiated, so you just...
トロピカレスクホームアウェイブドッグストリングス。
Okay.
王国の人間が絶滅。そう言われてみれば、ぼんやりと思
Is this how they found Shinobu in the first place?
Right.
えるものがなく、飢えて、乾いて、干からびた記憶。
Yeah, so this is extremely contextually relevant based on the previous episodes stuff.
ただし、美しさという名の病ですね。
はあ？
Excuse me?
どんな怪物なんだよ。
怪物ではなく人間です。人間の女です。そうやって彼女はこれまでいくつもの国を
many times.
決めたぞ、トロピカレスク。 こたびの目覚めの一食にはそのお姫様をいただくとしよう。久々の食事としては。
Keep her in one place so this plague can stop.
Yeah. Don't want to lose all your food.
なぜだトロピカレスク、この俺様にまた餓死しろというのか。
I love the set piece that we have for this scene.
俺様も人間ども同様に浸水した末にそのお姫様に命を捧げるとでも。
Maybe?
No.
二人の死体から食され体力を回復させてからというのはいかがでしょうかマスター。
You would have me debase myself?
いいかトロピカレスク、貴様がどんな風に栄養を補給しようとそれは
But don't tell me how to eat.
But then she starts eating her own head. Nice.
それが俺様。
And so if you kill yourself, then
Yeah, you can eat yourself.
yeah.
今は俺様のお腹が美し姫気分だから。
It's feeling like
Yeah.
some, capital B, capital P,
好きに食べる、殺して食べる、そう決めた。
And then when you kill yourself repeatedly before being able to feed, you have to feed on yourself just to keep going.
ついてくるなよ我が重木。
わかりました。
She stepped on me.
それでいい。
Interesting.
Yes.
Very ironic name for what's about to happen. No shit, he wasn't kidding.
Just devastation. Oh, look, it's just a bunch of dead people.
Right.
Oh, look, another dead person.
Could almost just entirely miss them, Just like that.
どうして私を殺そうとするのか、それなりの理由があるのだろうとはお察ししますが、
Yeah, please think, again
Right.
for doing that.
無駄にしないでください。
カカ、つまりあれか。
That's the laugh.
Yeah.
Wow.
ためらうどころか、そんな暴挙に及ぼうとした自分が許せず、俺様は自殺を試みたという。
That doesn't sound like me.
のようですね。
吸血鬼、
I gathered.
Neat.
人間を殺して食うモンスターだ。
では、あの
I like how in a lot of these shots, she's not actually looking shot in the face.
俺様は自分で殺した生き物しか食わねえ。
お名前を伺っても。
Then you can skip around the meat, maybe?
Yeah.
There's no other creatures in there.
美し姫じゃないのかよ。
それは私の子供の頃の継承ならぬ別称です。私をそう呼ぶ人もいなくなりました。
Yep. They are all gone.
アセロラ姫と呼ばせてもらうぜ。
ご随意に。
That you're free to do that. Yeah. I must. I ascend.
And then wake
And
up.
there's the next death.
どうやらまた死んでしまったらしい。
I love it.
様の長い吸血鬼生活においても、もちろん食生活においても
As well as in my dietary life, yeah.
返り討ちにあったんだな。
ええ、その通りです。でも、どうか気に病まないでください。
Yeah, you can do this.
私が美しすぎるのが悪いのです。
It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Yeah.
すぐに立ち去りますのでご容赦ください。どうやらこの国にも私の探している方はいらっしゃ
Right.
同じように自ら命を絶たねばならない私のような誰かを救うことにはならないのです。
なあアセロラ姫、
Whoa. Okay.
次に行く国ではお前が救える。
The bat with the cloak and everything.
無謀だと言われても私は他にやり方を知らないのです。そうして放浪を続ける。
Right, yeah, you just trudge forward, yeah.
様のそばにいながらにして死んでも死んでも生き返る。俺様は貴様の相談に乗ってやれる唯一の存在だ。
True.
Yeah, that's fair.
私に協力していただける代わりにあなたは私をこの領土に引き止め私を食べるチャンスを探りたいということですか。
Nice.
Bing bong.
スーサイドマスターでは
An immortal vampire and a pretty girl that needs her curse figured out?
Right.
Never seen this before.
Yeah.
食い込むようなその柔らかさ、触り心地に。
And then wakes up.
どうやらまた死んでしまったらしい。3度にわたる俺様の死は決して。
It seems we're at an impasse.
Or that's the inner of her cloak.
というわけで俺様はアセロラ姫を死体城にご招待した。
Where we provided her with food for all this time.
Right.
までしろとおっしゃるのですか。あんまりでございます。
And then she turns around.
アセロラ姫、下等なる人間の名前をあろうことかご記憶になられたのですか、スーサイドマス
Oh my god.
スーサイドマスター。そんな危険人物を城内に入れるなど。
Well,
Because I wish it.
yeah.
そう長くはかかるまいよ。
了解しました。私めは
And thus commences the monstrification of Acerola.
貴様の意見を聞きたいのだが、どうしたら美しい姫を殺せると思う？
First, you need to give her an ugly ass name. Because that was the whole thing of like I'm not the pretty beautiful princess.
Right.
Okay, but I'm still going to attribute the princess thing to you by calling you Princess Acerola. And she's like,
Yeah.
all the people that called me that are dead.
That was your first mistake.
But we literally said in the very beginning of, I didn't name her that because she was a meal, because I was hungry, because
Right.
why would you name
Something
someone
you're gonna
that
eat,
food?
yeah.
So at the very least,
She should have called her pork bowl.
well, no. We've kind of had the whole like answer kind of. Obviously, we know that we end up with a vampire named Kiss Shah De Acerola Ryan Heart Underblade.
Yeah.
Now, is that because the Suicide Master basically saw that she was going to die of starvation, and so she kills herself and basically bleeds herself out so that she can drink the blood?
Possibly.
And then thus she would live forever.
But normally,
because she becomes a vampire, she can then do things that would make her beauty be suppressed, you know?
But the thing is that normally the drinking the master's blood happens, you also then drink their blood, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm curious what happens if it's out of
Well,
order.
again, that's the thing, is that all she would have to do is then harm herself. All right, we have a nice little calm, relaxing arc about suicide.
Right.
Yeah. That's actually like wow. This is probably the most like chill Monogatari arc I think we've ever watched.
I mean, sure. Like, there's that part of me that's like, okay, how sarcastic are you being?
I'm being 100% serious because in a lot of ways the story's going to move crazy slow.
Yep.
We're going to have just conversations between people in a room, which is this is some Nishio Isin like premium shit here.
Yeah, exactly. That's your calling
just
card.
The question of how does the Death Bringer, the Death Meter, the Suicide Master dish out death when the meal that is served before you kills you the second you desire to eat it.
Right. It's a real puzzle. It's a real conundrum. It's a real head scratcher.
But because this is a prequel, we know that out of this is born a Kiss Shot Acerola Orion Heart Underblade. So that's also kind of fun within the meta narrative of what's going on here, because you could say, well, obviously at some point the princess becomes a vampire that takes on that name.
Yep.
Been given to her by her master.
The Suicide Master.
That could be it. We could also have some twists involved in this.
Sure. This is one of those things where like, an immortal being that then takes captive or welcomes to their home as a guest, who's to say, but then it's like, all right, I'm basically just going to be talking with you and stuff. That is a fantastic way to have the usual Monogatari like format. Great. I am curious though how many episodes this arc is going to be, because this is such an impasse
that's my point about how chill it is that basically that if you want to have it be any more episodes, you have to take things so slow, because there's only so many characters you can bring into this story to shake up the dynamic, and if you don't bring any more characters into it to shake up the dynamic, then right now the only thing that could really cause a wrench in things is maybe the jealousy of tropical-esque homo wave dog strings to just mess it up.
Takes a rock and from really far away it's like, when her back's turned or something.
Because the arc starts with our Suicide Master basically settling upon the idea, could be a lie, could be true, that she did not name Kiss Shot Acerola Orion Heart Underblade that because of hunger.
Right.
Which is because probably they end up spending a lot of time together.
Oh, sure.
But, again, that means that this is not a short arc.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
going to show them spending a lot of time together. Now, we can just skip around from death to death to death, which is interesting.
You could...
But I will say, Monogatari has never been a show about logistics.
Right.
And I'm about to start talking about some logistics of a vampire keeping a human,
Sure.
While she might be magically cursed in some way.
She sends Tropical-esque out to get food from the kingdom that had all the people die.
That's going to piss off Tropical-esque.
Oh,
because,
sure.
One, there ain't no food out there. People are needed in order to make the food, in order to eat the food.
Totally, but there could be a situation, because, for a vampire,
There's no donut shop
food
on the highway,
No, totally. But for a vampire, there's no food because there are no people, right? But
yes,
because the people died not because of war or actual famine or things like that, there could theoretically be all kinds of, things that could be scavenged or whatever. But,
I know, but if you're going to spend a lot of time, that food goes bad. We are in ancient... we are not in the days of refrigeration.
No, totally. But
food
I'm talking
goes bad in days.
Right.
Weeks,
Well, certain kinds of food, right? But if you get to a granary, there you go.
Yes, a granary then requires work in order to make the bread.
Like a granary, the place where they stored the grain as the reserves for a city or something.
I know, but you then have to work to make that food there. So she's lying to you, Tropical-esque. You are going to have to serve food to this human.
You're going to be given a big mortar and pestle, and you're going to grind that grain or whatever
make
equivalent
donuts.
into flour and make some food,
Yep.
Yeah. And so, okay, so I could see it being something where we get as many as maybe 3 episodes, so 2 more after this one, before we get to some situation where the dynamic is irrevocably changed, right?
Yeah.
Because the second episode, it's establishing how they kind of live together and all that stuff, and then the third one, it's gets to some conclusion, right, where things pivot, and then maybe we get into the rest of the arc, right? My guess is that what's going to end up happening is that because Princess Acerola's life will be in danger as a result of her mortality, right? Then our Suicide Master is going to basically say, okay, I must, in order to actually save her, I must turn her into a vampire. And in order to do that, I must truly, genuinely, to the deepest core of my being, not be desiring to eat her when I go to turn her. If she sees it truly as the way to save her, then maybe that could be a way that she actually is able to do it.
And thus then she would be saved by Princess Acerola because she's then basically able to deny her curse of being a vampire.
Right. Yep.
And that seems interesting. It's the kind of thing, though, that it should take a long time to get to that point.
Right.
Not just from a storytelling perspective, but just from
time
a
perspective.
literal time of a vampire going through this development as a character.
The idea that, one, the premise of yes, I just died. And so, because she was wandering this barren land, right, and ended up starving, also out of kind of, out of petulant stubbornness, where she's like, no, I'm not going to debase myself by eating a corpse, I'll just starve instead. Wakes back up and is like, all right, so for my first meal, I'm gonna eat this beautiful princess. Realizes that's not going to work very easily, and is like, that's fine, I'm a vampire, I'll be
figure
patient.
It out.
And and I will continue to not eat until I can eat this beautiful princess. And one of the most crucial early things that Shinobu said in Kizu, or just in the story as a whole, is if I don't eat like this, I will die. Right? So I'm curious what will happen there, right?
Oh, yeah. Vampires need to eat. But I think the point that we are starting to be introduced to is that there's the juxtaposition of hunger and love. And at some point, she loves the princess enough to give her a name that's like hers.
Right.
Because it's not just the lonely curse of being undead that's like eating away at her.
Sure.
But it's also the idea that maybe she wants to have a relationship with an equal, someone that she can actually engage with in a way that isn't just master and servant. In fact, she kind of feels odd about the familiarity of master, because it's like, I found that to be really interesting, because there was a point by starting the episode about the debate of names and why names are given, and then Acerola's name, and she's like obsessed with like no, well, she's not obsessed, but she brings up like, hey, don't call me that, like that's not like a thing, and then she still ends up calling her princess, even though she adds the name, and it's like, you can do what you want, you know?
Yeah.
And so then later we have titles being brought up, and she's like, oh, you know, great, and she's like, no, the honorific is the name. Like, in some ways, the idea that she ends up giving an honorific name to the princess, and yet when Tropicalesque ends up kind of dropping the honorific, showing that he's like
just calling her master.
Well, right, but because master is not actually just a title, it's in her name.
Right.
Her name is Suicide Master.
Right.
So he literally dropped every single honorific,
Yes.
but just used the name.
Oh yeah, no,
so it's like him saying, I'm familiar enough with you that
I'm calling you a nickname.
Right. Yeah. And she's like, no, don't do that.
Right, which
I just find fun, because it seems like she's both wanting the barrier between him and her because he's her spawn, he's her kin, but to somebody that's not there, it's the, well...
because it's
sure.
Like, the whole vampire spawn thing, while it is delineated by blood and all that stuff, it's the kind of like, I am the one that is powerful, and therefore you are subservient. And if there was another one that was powerful compared to me, then I would be subservient, right?
Yeah.
But there isn't. And so I'm at the top, right? I am the top of the food chain. I'm the head honcho, all that stuff. And then, oh, hey, suddenly that changes, and yet not in any of the traditional ways that Suicide Master would have expected.
Yes.
Right? It's the, through inaction, through nonviolence, I fundamentally cannot harm this person.
Well, I am getting harmed.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
By myself. There's a lot that could be gotten into with that. And I feel like the arc hasn't told us which direction they're going to take things with that. Because suicide is a heavy topic in and of itself.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that it's being taken almost as a joke in this because of the repetitive nature of this.
Oh yeah, I'm almost debating just calling her Deathtopia instead, just for YouTube algorithm stuff. So
yeah,
it's not
I'm fine with that. Deathtopia.
Yeah, Deathtopia. There we go.
Deathtopia feels a little bit.
I get the feeling.
A little bit better.
I get the feeling algorithms will appreciate that.
Yeah, we've said
the unalive word, so many times. Who knows what's going to happen to this video? But
yeah. Deathtopia.
Deathtopia. Yeah.
Deathtopia is fun. I love her as a vampire.
Yes.
She has the ka laugh, which is that's where I want to throw out some twist ideas, basically.
So so this is a great first episode to introduce us to the arc, right? Especially with how different this arc is than a traditional Monogatari arc or even a Shinobu arc. But one of the things that I think I'm most excited by with how it's setting everything up is not actually necessarily by what happens in the arc, but the context that we get for Shinobu in, modern times and all that stuff as a result of the things that we see. And so, yeah, there's the ka, right? There's the fact that, oh, hey, yeah, isn't it kind of odd if you think about it that an immortal creature would have this such over-the-top, all these titles name. And, as far as anyone that commands presence and respect, you would assume that they wouldn't be giving that name to themselves, because that'd be kind of cringe, right? So someone else would have to give that to them. But then where would that come from? Would that be the masses of people that she would have terrorized in her time as a vampire?
Yeah, so I thought it was basically that she lived across so many time periods,
right? That's kind of what I was
thinking
thinking
different
too.
identities and thus added all of them together into this super name.
Yeah.
To basically
this
encompass,
is how I am known.
Well, to encompass her immortality specifically. The idea
Sure.
that like, this is not how I am known. This is how I have been. This is how I like. These are the whos I have been. You know.
This is my reach and the breadth of my existence. And,
right.
Yeah, and so that is who I am, right? You know, but
there were other names and I abandoned them because they were.
Exactly, right?
They didn't fit.
Yeah, and as far as, general gravitas and, all of that stuff, and given a name like that without us, the audience, having context and everything,
Right.
yeah, it's fantastic. The impact of it is incredible. I love the Kizu. Like, it's fantastic. But the idea that it's something that's, in fact, given by an individual, right? And then it's something that you keep over the course of your entire existence, right?
That's love.
That's
love.
that's crazy.
Gotta be love.
Like that's
Like,
and then even down to the laugh.
I could see the love being mixed with regret, like the way that things were introduced in the beginning of this episode.
Sure.
But this episode brings up so many strange questions. And so, in a lot of ways, the episode's context does a lot to just introduce us to Deathtopia. And yet I am fascinated by this princess and whether or not she actually is
Shinobu.
because I want to throw out the idea.
But I think she is.
I want to throw out the idea of some kind of fusion or some kind of thing here because, one, Shinobu vampire can change forms.
Yep.
And she does. And in fact, it's kind of probably a little bit of a meta joke within the story of Monogatari in that things were done out of order with regards to when things were drawn and Shaft doing part of certain projects and things.
Yeah.
So obviously certain things were written much earlier.
Yeah.
But the idea that Shinobu's form, her radiant vampiress, beautiful form.
Yep.
Like, we don't even see that till much later in the actual anime. So
Right. Yeah.
I would be curious if there'd be some kind of attribute within her origin that has to do with her form being something that she can change.
So there's the whole matter creation thing. It's brought up as like a power that Shinobu has and all that stuff. With regards to the form, it's always tied to the amount of blood in her system, right? And hence the whole thing with Araragi and her deciding that she wants to have the small form because she feels she is able to be she just prefers that, better connected to the world, however you want to describe the reasoning for it. But there is definitely, I think you're right at the very least in the thematic sense that they are setting up all of these ways in which Deathtopia feels more similar to Shinobu than Acerola is. And that Shinobu that we know very much carries a lot of Deathtopia, right? Regardless of whether it's to what degree it becomes a physical or literal or thing within the world and all that stuff.
The way that she talks, the way that she laughs, the way that she jokes.
Yep. And also, just another thing that I got to say that I really like about how they do this, the notion of back when Shinobu got the arc where her spawn was introduced. I could be wrong because it was so long ago, but one of the things that I was thinking is but when do we get the Shinobu origin story, right? Because how did she become a vampire? That's a classic, mystery, and okay, when do we get that? But
this might not be that also.
This also might not be that, theoretically.
That's a wild thing to bring up. This actually could just end before that happens.
Sure, but one of the things that one of the places where my mind goes as a result of that is given how Shinobu is properly set up as like the ultimate pinnacle of, you know, vampirism and, you know, monster and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
How do you then introduce a vampire that would have created her without introducing a vampire that you somehow have to make even more crazy than what Shinobu is?
Well, you don't.
Right?
You don't necessarily. That's not how vampires work. Like,
well, yeah, not necessarily. But in the case of, like, say, you know, certain spawns and things like that, Tropicalesque clearly is a rung or 10 below Deathtopia.
well, right, because he's not actually a vampire. He wasn't turned. So kin don't become like necessary. Again, I keep forgetting Monogatari. Vampire lore is about as fluid as it comes.
Sure.
But I believe unless you literally like go through the reciprocal like process, you just have a person that's basically enthralled by you. And while they themselves might be like a form of like a lesser vampire, what have you, but they're not necessarily actually going to be capable of
Right, the
any
same
kind of evolution. Or,
Right, and that's the point that I was getting at, and I think this is a really cool way to do it, because Kizu, in the way it ended, was a fantastic way to put Araragi and Shinobu on equal footing, despite their immense differences and all that stuff, right?
Right.
And, you know, and for something as proud as an immortal vampire, why would they desire to then have an equal, right? And this is one of the other ways that you can do it, right?
Yeah.
And so having it be like this, that makes it make so much sense of like how you have a story to tell here with how Shinobu became a vampire and everything, and how she can still be the top dog that she is in the present, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, everything was given. But, yeah.
But all right, really fun start and a really cool little mystery while we have our good conversation.
Indeed.
But yeah, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You got an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us, the community there, about this show, about anime in general. Also, be sure to check out our Twitch channel. See if any of that interests you. We'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.